If you watched any of these videos and you're observant, then you'll notice that we have a new background today. We're in my living room. David and Sandra, again, the only person that'll come listen to my ramblings, apparently. Except when Gene comes. But I have to pay him to listen. At any rate, we're going to do another session. I don't know what it's going to be about, although, you know, maybe if you've seen one, you've seen them all. But if you're watching and you'd like to benefit from what we're doing, then consider yourself a participant. Whatever it is that I say, if it passes your critical thinking and egoic appropriateness judgments, and that'll be relatively easy to do, because you'll find, if you pay attention, that my only intention is full realization and awakening, you know, for Sandra, for me, for everybody. Why I'm dissatisfied with the way things are, you know, I can't say exactly, but it seems like we all complain about it.
The topic of being on peace.
Peace, isn't that very similar to our other topics?
You know, it's the peace of ourselves, the peace inside of us, the peace that we can send to the world.
Okay, so you want to be at peace, and then you want to be a source of peace.
And send peace to the world.
So you want to make peace your gift to others.
Yes.
Okay.
To the whole earth.
Okay.
And
not just your friends.
No, dissolve.
Okay.
Dissolve.
Well, we're gonna have to address with this in a way that might be distasteful. Okay.
To dissolve the wars.
Yeah, I understand that. So let's deal with your desire to make a gift of peace that everybody accepts. I detected an intention in you, and tell me if I'm wrong, that you wanted to kind of make it all happen, to make the world be at peace, right?
Yes, I think
you would like your intention to overcome everybody else's point of view and their consciousness to continue on as they are, and you'd like to almost impose your point of view of a higher way on those that, for whatever reason, are doing anything to being at peace themselves. So on the one hand, I want to say that, you know, that's admirable. But on the other hand, it's kind of diabolical. Because the only way the world can be at peace is not by stopping what they're doing, but by awakening in the middle of what they're doing. All the horrors that we do, that we commit against each other, that's where you awaken. And it's anything but peace to awaken in the midst of a horror that you're creating on yourself and on others. You know, that's why it's so difficult
control the others
to do. But so this is not going to happen by controlling anybody else. This is not going to happen by imposing change on anybody else. Because the only way that they come to a peace is to their own experience of self-realization, of the truth that sets them free, of their nobility, of their greatness, of their creativity, of their mastery over life. And for that to occur for them, it can't be imposed. It has to be inspired.
And do you think if there is an eclipse? How do you say where the sun and the moon?
An eclipse.
Yeah. One of the biggest ones tonight or tomorrow. Do you think the energy...
I don't think you're hearing me, actually.
I understand you.
Okay, well then hear me.
Okay.
I don't care about the eclipse. And I don't know that there's any clear evidence whatever energy may occur during an eclipse is any sort of unusually more beneficial than any other area. Or any other energy. It's stating that one energy is good, another energy is bad, right? Well, how far has that gotten you or anybody else? So if the energy of the people being in conflict and being hateful and being judgmental and being destructive, being at war, raping and murdering and hating themselves and their brothers and their sisters and their neighbors and their competitors and then, you know, the other races.
Do you think that because the prayers that we made in different religions for the world peace?
Do I think they're a waste? Yes. You know why? Because they're asking something else other than themselves to bring the peace in. Bring the peace into your experience of self so you're not making wishes based upon fables and fairy tales and, at best, metaphors for those that have awakened before us and gone down the road of a transformational shift, you know, a quantum leap in consciousness for themselves. You have to change yourself before you can bring peace to the world. You have to be the peace. Not want the peace, not need the peace, not know where the peace can be found, but to find yourself as the source of wholeness and truth and true grace, until that grace brings a remembrance and a restoration of your realization, the restoration of your realization as an enlightened, wise, kind soul. One that doesn't worry about others because, and that's a funny thing to say, I know, but one who doesn't worry about others because he knows that the others will awaken to a greatness and a magnificence that's beyond description when they choose to. And until then, they're pretending to be something, you know, horrible. And so you want them to go from horrible to less horrible to nice to at peace, but still not know their truth, still not be their truth, still not live their truth. For a person to truly be at peace, they have to be living their truth here. They have to be awakened and realized and enlightened. Okay? So if you want that for the world, you have to be that for yourself.
Okay. That's very interesting. Because you're changing.
If I want this David to look like that David, oh my God, what do I have to do? I have to take responsibility. Whoever modeled for this was in love with physical activity. Couldn't get enough of it. Just loved to run and play and move things and compete with how can I be the best that I can be. So if I want to give that impression myself, then my idea of myself, my identity, who I experience myself to be, has to change into that direction. I have to become sensitive and sensual with my experience of my own body. And I have to like the way that it feels to move. And so I have to be awakened enough to know that what I've done to this body over 6 decades now has resulted in something that doesn't feel good to move in. Feels good to stay still in just the right position. Then I can relax. If I just let my body kind of slump into a place where all the tension has a chance to relax, right? But is that the goal? That's better. But should that be the end game? You want magnificence. Magnificence is your end game. as magnificent as you can be. Not that you're the best that ever was, but the best that you have ever been in your life. That has to be your choice for yourself now. How can I be the best that I have ever been for my own life, my own energy, my own presence here? How can that be the best that it's ever been? And keep getting better from there. How can the best of me be in my future instead of my past? How can the best of me be in my future instead of my past? So sample the best that you ever were. You know, those times in your teens and your 20s where you were in love with life, in love with the experience of what it was like to have a healthy, flexible, strong, and active, fun body. You know, to be that feeling of immortality that we have as youth. Right? Okay, so remember that, feel it, and go, okay, how does it get even better than that for me now? And so you have to connect the best that's ever been with the experience of the now. And take that in and say, wow, it's quite a shift. I've made a big shift in the wrong direction. Why? Because I sit all the time, and I eat all the time, and I think about things where I consider myself and everybody else to be a victim. Oh, the world is so bad, you know, there's so many horrible things happening, and I wish the world was at peace, right? Well, what level of consciousness collectively does it take for us to be stuck there, right? Okay, it's so far from the truth as to be a ridiculous story, pretense, but it's real as hell. And hell is what you're complaining about. You're complaining about the life of hell that seemingly the majority of humanity lives here. You know, it's tough, it hurts, it's sad, and yet it's so lovely at the same time and tender and just, you know, how does it get any better than this thing called life? Being born and growing and learning and expanding and maturing and gaining that understanding of, you know, the possibilities of life and how you were able to embrace the ones that you did. And then at the point where you come into the now, okay, you did your life review, right? You've looked at your history. And you can see your progression from this moment perfectly plotted out in time, unless you make a shift now. So how do you make a shift? We know that for me to be anything like that, I got to be active for at least a couple hours a day, right? So for a long time, for months, maybe a few years. And then I'd be the old version, you know. I'd be the gray one unless I, you know, dye my hair, but I'd never be the young person. You know, there's some yogic traditions that say that you can. And it's a beautiful story, and I wish it were true, but there doesn't seem to be any evidence of it. It seems like we come here and enjoy or don't our being a baby and a young child and going to school and learning all the things that, you know, the people around us think is important for us to know. You know, when you shut out other points of view and you let just one point of view be your educator, oh my God, creates so much disruption in the world. All we want to do is fight each other because every point of view has been told that they're the right one, that they're the real one, that they're the true one, that they're the holy one, that they're the good one. Everybody knows that they're the good ones. everyone fighting on every side knows for themselves that they're the good ones. They've been told that their whole life. They've been told no many times more than yes, but they've been told that even through all of the no's that they've ever had, all of the judgments, all of the shutdowns, all of the inability to see you in the true essence and sense of the self that you are, never able to see your true beauty, never able to see your eternal nature or experience it, and would never ever look at you as that. And then they're the ones who get to define you. They're the ones that get to create of what your experience of yourself is. No. Yes, but no. Yes, they did. But no, you don't have to continue down that road of the life that was created for you by the expectations, judgments, and opinions and fucked up belief systems of others. Until you realize that everyone has a valid point of view, no matter how wrong you know it is. Until they're able to fully feel that you have legitimately opened into a willingness to understand them. A willingness to know who they are until they're satisfied that you get them as well as anybody gets them. If you want to have influence on somebody else, you have to open. And you have to say, who are you? Why are you this? What's it like for you to be you? How do I more fully understand you? How do I move into an experience of you that brings out the very best of me? Right? How do I know you in such a way that I know myself in a way that I never have before, in a way that's so beautiful and so precious that I come into a self-realization of a transcendent peace, the one that you wish that you could fully experience and share that experience with everybody else who ever comes in contact with you. So the answer is, share with me the peace that you are right now. And I'll open and I'll allow the peace that you know. Now, if I have to wake up where I'm stuck, then this is it. You know, it's me as this, not the idea of that. It's me as this. And it's the wife that I have, and the friends that I have, and the kids that I have, and the business relationships that I have. That's where I have to wake up. I can't run away and wake up somewhere else. I have to wake up with the people who I've attached myself to in a metaphoric way, where we each agreed that we were something other than wholeness itself, right? We get married to people and say, you complete me, right? Complete yourself. Then you can be able to be a good influence on somebody else, not until. And since we don't know how, instead of avoiding the exact nature of the traumas of your life, of the things that aren't right, you have to start making it right yourself. You have to say what you need and what you want, what you have to have. And you have to communicate that things are different now. And now things are going to be the way you want them to be. Not against anyone else, but what you need and what you have to have. You have to be able to be on that pathway to your inner peace. And so All opposition to you has to stop. All suppression, all judgment, all conflict has to stop for that to be the case. There can be a chaos in the world. There can be unconsciousness all around you. But the light within yourself, the peace of knowing eternity, is yours for yourself. So wake up here, wake up now. Wake up with the obligations that you have, with the connections, with the people that you are. Wake up as the you that maybe nobody, even yourself, knew was possible. Wake up to the you that you yourself would experience as a miraculous, divine blessing. Allow your experience of yourself to move into a miraculously divine blessing. Something you didn't deserve, something you didn't even know existed, but something so beautiful, so pure, so blissful, so exquisite that everything else falls into perspective. Be the peace that we all need to be. Be the peace that inspires me. Be the peace that shows us the way. Be the peace that brings a truly new and glorious day. Be the peace that brings one and all to knowing within themselves the glory of it all. Be the peace that transcends time and space. Be the peace that blesses the human race. Be the peace that's blissful, true, and pure. Be the peace that continually gives more and more. It'll transform the life that you are. The light will never go out. You'll truly be a star. One that shines until something shines brighter still. Even though it seems you're gone, you're forever there. And seen when the darkness knows you. The darkness has to know you in order to move into an experience of peace. So just because things are in a disorder in my life, does that mean that I can't feel peace in the now? Maybe if I feel peace in the now, I won't have to try to create order in the rest of my life. Maybe I'll just, I'm going to do it this way this time because doing it any other way is ridiculous. Path of peace is clearly laid out. It's not a mystery. When it's uncomfortable for you, you say, hey, I'm uncomfortable. This isn't the way it's supposed to be for me. Well, how is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be a way where I get to do what I want, the way that I want, how I want, and have that be appreciated by the people that are around me. I should be good enough at what I do, reliable enough, honest enough, resourceful enough, so that my actions are benefiting other people. And I don't want to be surrounded by people so screwed up that my actions are deemed to be in conflict with somebody else's best good. So what do you do? How do you move? Where do you take responsibility? Where's the line between your will and your intention and your choice for peace and somebody else's free will to not wake up right now, to not be true, to not be free? Does that mean that you just have to get to a point where they can't hold on to the lies of themselves? Or does it mean that you find a way to live your life so that the other can be free to live theirs? Without you being a burden on them and without them being a burden on you. How do you do that? How do you do that with family? How do you do that with friends? How do you say, from now on, I'm free? And I still want you to be connected to me. How's that work? I'm not sure. But what I know is I get to choose what that is. I get to choose what freedom is for me, so long as I am not directly offending you. And if what brings me happiness and pleasure and fulfillment and purpose and moves me into a better space that's obviously better, if that's offensive in any way to you, then you have to set me free from giving you offense in pursuing my life and my dream and making it as good as I can. You have to state your freedom. And that has to be your priority. And your freedom has to be founded in nobility, in choosing to bless those around you, to be of service, to be appreciative, to be celebratory, to be inspiring. So if that's you and that's your path, then take it on and be it. Don't pretend anymore that you're going to be here and settle for less than that. Right? Okay. Me too. I mean, how scary is that? How scary is it to go, hey, things are different now. I know I said that I was going to be this David, not that David, and that the unpredictability of a transformational shift from this to that. I have to be free to do that if that's my purpose, if that's my joy, if that's my reality. If that's what's going to happen, then what's not going to happen that would used to happen? Well, I'll be eating less candy from the grocery store, probably. I'll probably be using my bike that always has a flat tire because I only pump it up every couple of years, then don't use it anyway. I'll probably become real familiar with nature, hiking in the mountains, campfires, and the joy of, being in communion with the natural world. Instead of crazily running and pursuing complexities of transactions and why am I doing this and for how long and for how much and what are my options here at my age and the time that I have and the commitments that I have, where can I allow myself to shift for the better? what can go away in my life and not make me feel bad, so that I have room for the transformation, right? Because if you transform, you're going to do different things, right? If you're going to be at peace, how much time are you going to spend fighting? Okay, so what happened to all of your fight partners then? You guys that don't like each other and have problems, and so okay, so they're going to have to find other fight partners because you quit that game, right? Sorry, don't do that anymore. Don't want that kind of relationship with you. Don't want that kind of relationship with you anymore. Doesn't mean we can't have a relationship. Doesn't mean we can't have a better relationship. But the past has to become irrelevant for you and for me. And the possibilities of the future is what we have to look at. What's the potential of me and you knowing each other? Me and you being friends. How good can that get? How much of a blessing can we experience that to be? How do we experience a noble friendship? One where we're actually blessed by the other person, and we receive it and we get it and we know it and we understand it and we embody it and we transform as a result of it. How about a friendship like that? I say, yeah, bring them on, man. Everyone that's willing for that, yes. Those that are not, no. No more, no way, no how. Let me be or set me free. Let me be myself. Let me be my truth. Let me transform. Let me show the way to myself. Let me surrender to the truth that will set me free. The one that I don't know, the one that I don't understand, but the one that will. The one that will. So that I can know myself, so that I can understand reality, so that I can say that, yes, I know my purpose in life, and I'm fulfilling it exactly the way that I should, exactly the way that I want to, exactly the way that I need to look back at the end and say, yes, thank you, God. Thank you, God, we did it this time. And it was worth it, and it was great, and it was a magnificent hero's journey. Why not that for you? Why not that for me? Why not that for us all? Why not choose to be so blissfully awake and so gloriously free that I can't help but choose for myself to open to that level of truth, so that I'm set free the same way that I see that you are. That's how you bring peace to the world, by being set free to the point that it's a joy to see you, to know you, to share time and space with you. When you bring a true joy, a true awakening to somebody else just because they share time and space with you, there's a mutual energetic interaction, right? How does that become free? You have to feel it. You have to look at it. You have to understand it. You have to say, okay. If you truly merge with this reality and merge with somebody else so that you understand what the hell is going on, how do you do it in such a way that it's a beautiful experience every time? both in anticipation, in the moment, and in the reflection. How's your life? Good, better, and best from before, during, and after. Right? Why not that? So if that's the ground rules, it sounds like a pretty fun game to play. Why wouldn't you? You think there's a better way than awakening into your own mastery and freedom? Of course not. So you have to choose it, and then you have to let it happen. It's a pretty simple game. You describe it the way we've described it. You say, okay, mentally I'm okay with that. We've battered around all the words in every direction until we've created a format of understanding where we kind of get the idea of what we're discussing, and then we say, okay, that's what I choose. Then we allow that choice to be the focal point of our shift of consciousness. And we surrender into the direction of freedom. Where is freedom for us? And we surrender to that. And then we experience it. We experience being relieved of our suffering, our pains, and our limitations. We feel our body and our mind and our soul opening into the experience of being able to breathe easy again. Being okay with the life that you are, being the life that you are. It was so difficult for me to come to the place where I could even say that, let alone experience it. So in rebellion for having to be this, to be me here. How unjust, how unfair, how problematic, how hellish for my consciousness to be in this body, in this ego, in this personality, in these life circumstances. How the hell? How the hell? How the hell? Come on. Why the hell? Why the hell here? Why the hell me? Why the hell this is where I come to enjoy life? It doesn't matter what that answer is. Because you're here and you're you. Until the life is over. You're you until this life is over. And just because it's not a transcendent life doesn't mean that it can't be. Just because you're not known by anyone to be magnificent doesn't mean you can't be. Just because nobody is dreaming and hoping and praying that you come into their lives for another word, another moment, another gesture of, being honored. Being honored. Let me feel what it is to feel like you're honoring me with your presence. Allow your presence to be an honor, an experience of honor. You have to be able to choose for the change that you've asked for. You can't say it and then say, but I can only have it one way. Whatever the pathway of freedom is, you've got to start disagreeing with your reality. I know that's weird, is for your surrender to the truth to result in your being in disagreement with your reality, but you have to tell the reality around you with your eyes, with your presence, with your words, with your actions. But things are different now. And you have to experience life in a new way, where life respects you. It doesn't have to fear you. It has to notice that you're worthy of their respect. Life has to notice that there's something about you that's pretty great. And how does that happen? Whatever the wholeness is, whatever the fullness is, whatever the cosmic truth and the universal experience, whatever the Buddha nature and the Christ consciousness, whatever the stories were based upon, connect to that. Connect to the reality of the transcendent, of the magnificent, of the miraculous, of the transformative, of the enlightened nature of the truth of each and every one of us. Know it as yourself. Open into your experience of that. Especially now, when you have somebody encouraging you, online, open. Take your defenses down and say, okay, have your way with me. Whatever's magnificent, before, during, and after. Okay. If that's going to transform me, then it transforms me. So whatever lies I'm carrying around is a story of me. I'm ready to let it all go. I'm willing to let the truth come into me that shines that light of truth upon the lie of my identity, of my personality, of my life experience, and of the life that made me and came before me. I'm willing to give it all up, every aspect of it, to the truth that sets me free. It seems like it was a good choice. And that choice continued to transform you. Doesn't need anything more than your allowance for receiving the transformation as yourself. I think that's my choice. I want the woman who loves me to see this. I want me to see that when I look in the mirror and not have it be a fantasy. Have the best possible me be present. So how does that change my mind, my ego, my identity, my heart? What does that do to my spirit? I guess I'll have some props in the future. Gives me something to talk about.
For sure in the book. For sure.
I'll type this one up. This is the book.
Yeah.
Called The Book of Light and Life and Laughter and Love. The book of leaving well enough alone. Choosing to be at home in your own heart with the truth of yourself. What a nice opening, huh? A beautiful transformation. A release and a continuous opening of grace. Sandra's afraid that some of her friends might ever see one of these.
Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Until you're brave enough to go on camera, you're not brave enough to change.
You're scarring you all day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look at my excuse, man. I've been screwing off for 35 years since I can't say I was close to this, but from far enough away, maybe you could mistake us, Might have to be from 100 feet away, but there was a time when, I tried my best to be here beautifully, physically. And I gave up on that about 30 years ago. So, how do you move into regaining your youthful choice to be the best
Beauty.
possible you?
Beauty? Which point of view?
It's not a point of view.
How are you?
What I'm saying is, how flexible are you?
Yes.
How able are you to help others in a stressful, dangerous situation? Can you move quickly, beautifully, flexibly, capably through life, through every possible circumstance? Are you able to, and that ability is what's beautiful. Okay? Now, if it comes shaped in a particular package that you don't like of yourself, well, you can change that with some effort and intention. So, but first your heart has to change. Your identity has to change because it's your experience as a being that causes you to choose new behaviors. So you have to allow the beingness to shift first, and then you don't have to struggle with trying to become something that you're not. You let the spiritual transformation occur first, and then the physical manifestation will follow. Okay?
Electrical is good for us.
I think I won't cut anything out of this, because it gives context. My own life, my own frustrations, my own interactions. It leaves for a few minutes of blank spots, but, if somebody's here to get whatever this is, and they have to have the whole picture. They have to see what I'm struggling with. They have to see, where my mind truly is. Not just where I can peek out at and share from there, but where my peak needs to reawaken within the deepest, darkest part of me. Right?
Yes.
So you can't bullshit your way through this, especially if you're a piece of shit like me. You gotta say, I know I stink. I know I'm not where you want me to be.
Horrible.
I know that you deserve better than this. So do I. That's why my new nickname is Holy Shit. How do you pull that one off? Nobody likes shit except
Holy shit.
the weirdest ones. And what would a holy shit be? Holy shit would be a realization that something God wonderful just happened. Holy shit.
A miracle.
Right?
A miracle.
A miracle. Why not? Holy shit.
Yeah.
We want a holy shit miracle here. And here's the time and place. Right here, right
Yes.
now, right? A holy shit miracle. Okay, so if you've asked for it, now you have to focus your attention and your consciousness on why you're not opening to it to receive. Okay, feel the request and see that it went universe wide and bounced right back to you with the willingness to transform your life in every possible way, exactly the way that you want it to. And yet, you, as soon as the transformation begins and occurs, say, hell no, and you shut it off. So I want you to feel that, hell no, shut it off. Stop this shift, stop this transformation, stop this change. I can't control this. I don't know where this is going. I don't know what's happening. What's going to become of me? You don't know, but what you asked for was so beautiful. Open the door and find out. Even though you don't know it, and you can't control it, and you can't guide it, and you can't understand it until you are it. Let go and be free. It's a new experience, huh? So is your song Singing in the Rain?
Yes.
Or I can't stand the rain? Hmm. Claudius is singing in the rain. He likes to open up and say, why would anybody not like this? So if you've asked for a miracle and it's a huge transformation, then you have to put your attention on the receiving of it as fast as you can. Opening and opening and opening and opening, more and more and more. It's a continuous opening, a continuous expansion, a greater and greater understanding, a greater and greater realization, a clearer and clearer presence of the essence of the wholeness of you. Your whole reality begins to become liquid instead of being solid. And the liquid begins to boil off and escape as steam. You go from a solid to a liquid to a gas. And from a gas into an energy and a light. And from the light you go into just you. You and the light, you and the energy, you and the gas, you and the vibration, you and the identity as the life, as the body, you as the personality, you as the ego. And you come back and you say, here I am, I'm free. In the midst of your current reality. Here I am, I'm free in the midst of my miserable reality. And I'm going to choose differently because I'm different. So continue to open and to become the difference in your life, the difference in my life, the difference in other people's lives, the difference that brings us all into a self-realization of each of our individuals' personal, profound, ecstatic, and blissful peace. Universal, universally transformational. The freedom that you came here to be. freedom that I came here to be. And what does that look like? Does it look like this? Yeah, for now it does. This is what it looks like. It looks like normal. Peace has to become normal for you. It has to become normal for who you are right now in order for it to be realized. Peace becomes you and you become it. Keep opening, keep surrendering, keep releasing until you don't need to release or surrender or let go anymore. Because you've arrived. And once you've arrived, once you're realized, once you're your own truth, once you've been set free and know your experience of yourself is the experience of freedom, then you don't have to let go of things anymore. You don't have to walk the pathway of freedom because you are freedom. So allow yourself to begin to move as freedom itself. Even if your movement has to be just mental, where you have to keep everything so still and your focus so intent that you have to slow everything down to nothing before peace comes in. That's okay. But once it comes in, allow it to expand, to include all of you and all of reality, till it radiates from you like an irresistible smell. Looking at myself on this screen, I can't say I'm very proud of myself for how I've aged. But on the other hand, I'm happy that I'm opening to change, to being changed for the better. And that's my wish for you too, that you change for the better according to your own point of view, according to your own experience of yourself, according to your own understanding, according to your own knowing, and according to your own self-realization of your Buddha self, of your Christ consciousness. Even though maybe you're a little bit closer to Pandora's box or Loki's Joker, those are just masks. And this is mine. I'm keeping it. I may polish it up a bit, but this is the one I'm here with. And it was a chance of fate. It could have been anyone, could have been born anywhere. But this was the one that happened, and so this is the one that I have to take responsibility for. So take responsibility of yours and open into your self-realization as who, where, and what you are. And if we all do that, we'll have the world peace that Sandra would like to bless us with. So peace out. Notice it's within your heart. Peace within. Be true to yourself and don't be too critical of me, because it'll be hard on you later when you have to take responsibility for that. So give me a thumbs up and share this with somebody who wants to hear these kind of words. So thank you. Good night.